Wisdom provides you with the reservations to step outside of your passion, to step outside of your beliefs, no matter how true they are. It gives you the reservation to step back and to look at the situation from this three-dimensional viewpoint where you see not only your side, what's going on, beautiful day to be alive, a great day to be a man. The greatest revelation that the bee ever had was realizing that he didn't have to spend every waking moment agonizing over having to explain to the fly that honey was better than shit. If the fly wanted to consume his days by eating shit, then so be it. This is the Better Man channel, where we choose the tranquility, the peace of knowing our values, our standards, our beliefs, and not having to force those upon anyone else. We live in a culture today where the current events are bombarded with these social justice warriors. They're bombarded with everybody wanting to prove their cause, prove their beliefs. And it's easy for us to fall victim to that and step in line with that narrative, that belief that I have to prove who I am by God. And we unleash this passionate fury that makes no sense. And so there's two forms here in that argument. There's knowledge and there's wisdom. Knowledge showed the bee that yes, honey of course is better than shit. That's a factual knowledge. But wisdom, wrapped in logic, said, I'm not going to waste my energy. I'm not going to waste my time arguing with this fly that is 100% certain that shit's better than honey. I don't have to prove anything to him because I'm losing my own well-being. I'm losing my own sanity in trying to argue against his ignorance. And in doing so, I just prove myself just as ignorant, and I render myself useless and tired and drained over nothing. And we find ourselves in that state today. We are men. And there's some truth, some facts, some knowledge that we've been marginalized, right? We've been pushed to the side, pushed to the boundaries of society where many women, many people believe that we have no absolute utility in the very nature of what it means to be man, what it means to be masculine, and that can be frustrating. And we want to passionately to leash out on that. We want to bark at their bark and show who has the sharpest teeth. And we've probably all been involved in that, right? We've fallen into that trap where we're biting and chewing and gnashing out at those who we think are the predators that have caught us in that trap. And that's exactly what it is, a trap. We see this in the left. We see this in the agendas of those wanting to push those in society where they're just barking. And they're barking loud and they're barking loud. And it's just this ignorance. And we get caught up in that wanting to bark back. But like I said, it just renders us as ignorant as them. And at the end of the day, we feel drained. And they're feeling all upright and mighty because look at me barking the loudest. And we're back in the corner just licking our wounds because, damn, that was tiring and frustrating. I didn't get anywhere. And again, I'm sure we've all fallen victim to that, where we try to bark louder than the ignorance, and it's just this noise of ignorant barking. And so I want to suggest that we begin using wisdom. Wisdom wrapped in logic. Wisdom provides you with the reservations to step outside of your passion, to step outside of your beliefs, no matter how true they are. It gives you the reservation to step back and to look at the situation from this three-dimensional viewpoint where you see not only your side, but you see the fly side and why he loves that shit and why he's stuck in that narrative and why he's stuck in that belief system. And so then we recognize that maybe there's no argument to be won here. There's no barking louder than his ignorance. That person just isn't ready to hear the truth. And we step outside of that. And that's the ability that as men, based on logic and logical creatures, that we need to begin to implement and employ that wisdom to go to work for us. There's a lot of causes out there that we can be justified in arguing. And there's a lot of things out there that we need to have that discussion. But there's a difference between having that civil discourse and coming into that situation with wisdom where we've had those reservations to step back and to step outside of the passion and begin to look at the situation from a three-dimensional viewpoint where we can explore all angles. Because believe it or not, there's times where we have been the fly and we're stuck in that shit, and someone comes along and they want to tell us that, hey, it's better over here. This is the honeypot, man. But we're not ready to listen. We're not ready to explore other avenues because we're still stuck in that mindset. And if you're watching this video, I have to believe that you're old enough to realize that you can't change anyone's mind. You can't change anyone's point of view. They can only come to that truth, that knowledge, that wisdom when they're ready to explore other avenues. And to tell the fly that honey is better than shit when shit is all he knows, you can't expect him to change overnight. And again, yes, for some of us, with that knowledge to articulate our argument in a wise manner, then yes, speak that. But you have to accept that your words aren't always going to bring everybody to your side. There's a lot more peace. There's a lot more tranquility. And be able to step back and say, you know what? I don't have to convince anyone of anything. I don't have to get caught up in these arguments where I'm trying to bark louder than them and show them that I have the sharpest teeth. And in doing so, I render myself just as idiotic as them. There's going to be a lot of opportunities to argue in our lifetime. There's going to be a lot of moments where we do have the knowledge and we do have the facts and we get passionate about that, right? Because that's our beliefs and that's our livelihood, and we want to just But the greatest thing we're ever going to learn, especially in just showing them through actions and showing them through in our reserved and composed manner, is that, all right, if you want to wallow in shit, then so be it. I'm over here with honey, and you can look at my life, and I'll be an example, and maybe you'll come over one day and want to partake in the honey pot that I'm taking in. Or you may just walk in shit for the rest of your life. And it's sad but true, but many people will. But in order to be empathetic with that, we have to realize there's always an area in our life where we're eating shit too. Right? There's all areas that we need to work on that we could go to the honey side, but we're stuck in that limited perception where we're walking through that shit pile because that's all that we know. And in order to step back and have those reservations that say, I see this from all angles, that's necessary in existing in peace and tranquility, or you'll just tear yourself apart by always wanting to prove a point. The bee had that revelation that he didn't have to prove a point. And as men that are being pushed to the boundaries, we don't have to prove our point through arguments. We don't have to prove our point through barking, or in their eyes, we're doing what they're saying we're doing. We're being that loud alpha that has to beat his chest. We're men composed in logic, wrapped in that wisdom that says, you know what? I'm just going to be me. I'm going to do me and do what allows me to be me. And if I need to speak up, then I'll be able to articulate that in a wise manner. I won't bark out and become that passionate asshole. I'll be able to say what needs to be said. And when push comes to shove, my truth will outlast the falsity of shit. Because a pile of shit is just shit. And a pile of honey is always going to be more valuable. The honey doesn't have to go out and tell the world how valuable it is. Once people get a taste of it, they know how valuable the honey is. And that's our duty as men. To be the upright example of merit that walks in that honey, provides the honey, and when people are ready, they can come get it. But we don't have to go slinging honey to the rest of the world when they're just fine with shit. Or we're going to be left upset. We're going to be left pissed off. And then we're going to prove the point that we're just another dog in this game trying to bark as loud as the ignorant dogs eating shit. I love you guys. You'll hear from me next episode.